Hello everybody and welcome to Thursday the 11th of April. I'm of course Kevin van der Kooi, also known as Rotterdam, and it's time for my little replay hour, which is fun because I'm excited to share some stuff with you again. We've been doing this for a couple of weeks. First we had a build order 101, which was fun, but after that we decided to kind of split it up. And there's so much StarCraft going on these days that I really think it's worth it to kind of like review a couple of games and also give some players a little bit of extra spotlight time, which they definitely deserve. And also something that I like to do, which is always risky, I perhaps shouldn't do it, is to show you guys how my ladder adventures have been going, or at least what I've been up to. Now I had a 2-3 day break because I went to Vegas with the boys, which went horrible again as always. I shouldn't go to Vegas, I really shouldn't, but it was some fun. But besides that, I'm still playing a lot of ladder since I'm back. I already did like 25 games again, and that's like yesterday. So I've been messing around a lot with a fun PvZ build. Once more, I'm very well aware of the fact that my builds are not USL Code S level, and I'm definitely not going to pretend that they are. But I know that I've been helping quite a few people with some builds. I have a lot of people who said that they have an insane PvP win ratio right now ever since they watched the PvP thing that I did. So that's really fun to hear. And then later on today I'm going to show you guys some PvZ stuff I've been messing around with, and I'm not even sure if it really like improved my win rate a lot because I'm still figuring it out, and it's also very multitasking intensive, but it's a lot of fun to play, and that's also something because the more fun something is, the more you want to practice it. And even at the end of the day, if it's not something you're always going to fall back on, it's still nice to have it in your arsenal, I'd say. Anyways, we're going to start off with the AC Team Story Cup replays because that's what I like to do, and we're going to focus a lot on Daishi today. Daishi is a French Terran player who's been doing extremely well recently. He pretty much carried, well, carried is perhaps a big word, but he's got so many wins for Millennium in the AC Team Story Cup qualifiers, and he also did really well in the recent clan war against Root. Now last week I gave a lot of props to Sage because I will love Sage and I think he's a fantastic Protoss player. This week I want to focus a little bit on Daishi as he played 3 PvTs or TVPs I should say on a row, and what I really love the most, and that's something I really have to applaud him for, is that he opened almost completely different 3 games on the row. And I want to show you guys a couple of things, and I want to show you guys why I was so impressed with his play, which I think is awesome. Now in the start I'm just going to fast forward because hey, we all know this kind of we all know the drill of the start, and this is not about like writing the exact build orders down and stuff. That's something I will do later when I show you guys my own build order. Right now we're just going to kind of skip through, fly through a couple of replays and show you guys what up. So he's opening up with a refinery, he only gets a marine, and gets a reactor and already drops the command center, so pretty economic opening. Nothing too fancy here. On the other end we have Root Succeed, a talented young player who recently joined Root. He's opening up pretty standard as well. He's gonna fly over his mothership core. He wants to see what's going on while we see this one little SUV. Gets a brave scout off, unfortunately he had to pay this with his life. After that SUV died, we immediately see the Stargate going down, not completely uncommon these days in PvT. Certainly not on the highest level. I have to admit that I struggle a lot making Stargate work. It's either I kill all the workers or I kill nothing. Anyway, so we see Daishi after he got that reactor early on the Rex. He's going to send out his first 6 to 7 Marines. Now he's going to control the map, Zelnaga Watchtower, that's always nice. Of course, he does not know about the Stargate, that is a problem. That's something he would love to see. He followed up with a quick factory, important to notice. Produced 1 or 2 Widow Mines immediately. One is already out, I believe. Yes, and the second one is on the way. Now this is not a completely uncommon poke, but once more I want to applaud Daishi for the fact that he opened differently 3 games in a row. That's really something that you don't see people do very often. Now this is a mistake that we're going to see right now that I've made often myself. What do we see here? We see 6 Marines running into a Stalker, a Mothership Core. I want to say Cybernetics Core. It would be awesome if my Cybernetics Core could fly. I would probably never lose it, but that's not the case. We see 2 Zealots. So basically you could say there's no need for him to use Purify here, right? There's no way that anyone's going to have Stim at 630. But this is kind of just like a reaction that people do. And that's something that I've done a lot myself as well. And I'm sure that you Protoss players at home have made the mistake a couple of times. You want to be careful with Purify. This is exactly, at least that's how I like to think, what Daishi wanted. Now we see 2 cannons going down. If you guys wonder, this is just in case of the quick medevac drops, which could already hit around this phase of the game. And of course, Succeed didn't know about the exact timings of everything. He saw this, so he's probably expecting a really quick medevac drop, but that wasn't actually the case. What Daishi is going to do is just going to push up the front while he waits until Purify is done, since there's only 1 Purify in this phase of the game. I think that was really smart. What Daishi didn't expect is that he was playing against an Oracle, so obviously this Oracle is going to deal a lot of economic damage, but at the same time, this is the moment where Purify is over. is out. And if he would have Purify right now, he would have absolutely no issues dealing with this little push, because these Marines do not have enough DPS to take down the Nexus. These units will still stall time, but because there is no more Purify, because of that mistake early on, Daishi's actually going to be able to do a lot of damage here. That's also something he needed to do, because we can see he lost quite a few SCVs against a single Oracle. And I just really love how he played this. Poked in at first, forced the Purify to be activated, while forced in between brackets. Succeed didn't really have to, but that's so easy to say when you watch the replay. Well, if you play the real game, it's just like, oh, I want to be quick, I want to react immediately. And I know I should call it photon overcharge, but guys, I'm old school. I've been playing the beta since day one, so it's Purify in my heart. It will always be Purify. Even though slowly but steady, I'm gonna probably just punch myself whenever I do say Purify, because I'm obviously talking about photon overcharge. So eventually Succeed will be able to clear this up. He's still ahead in 10 workers, so you could say overall, perhaps this didn't go all that well for Daishi, but that's mainly because the Oracle did so much damage. If that wouldn't have been the case, this actually would have been fantastic for Daishi. I'm going to fast forward from this point on, because this is not a phase of the game where you say like, oh, Daishi, I really love your position. He's down 8 to 10 workers. There are Oracles on the map which could spot drops. There are no massive bio upgrades. Revelation being used over here, I kind of like that, so you can see what's being produced, and you can also see the tech labs rest once they finish up and stuff. If there's an additional command set going down, which is not the case. That was a little bit sloppy by Succeed, but hey, let's pretend we never saw that. So just now +1 is starting. So basically you could say like, yeah, I kind of like the position of which our Protoss player is in, and I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. If we take a look at army supply though, we see that Daishi has a minor lead, but of course as long as Succeed just stays on 2 base, keeps building workers, which you can see that he's doing as well. Of course, me being the Protoss player, while a couple of Stalkers are being caught out of position in the middle of the map. This is really important. You do not want to stop at 16 or even at 24 probes, because you want to expand eventually, but right now he just feels that his army is perhaps not mobile enough to already go to 3 bases or defend 3 different locations. So he just builds up an insane amount of probes, which is the right thing to do, and then later on when it's safe to go to 3 bases, he's doing that. I like that. So Daishi wants to go a little bit ballsy. He wants to drop, and he's actually going to continue with the drop. He will lose a medevac with a couple of Marines in it, but he will pick off a pylon. He will pull the army a little bit out of position, and of course he gets a reasonable scout off as well, and he sees that he has to deal with Colossus, which will only prompt him to continue the Viking production. Observer is out. Still a very even game, I'd say. Succeed losing that pylon, actually supply block him. This is the first real fight. The time warp is excellent. It's going to make it a lot harder for these bio units to micro out. You can see the Zealots doing a good job, but actually he didn't really have enough Zealots. If he wasn't as supply blocked, if he wouldn't have lost this pylon, I think he would have been able to do a lot better in this fight, because 4 or 5 extra Zealots and those Colossus are safe for days, and they will be able to deal a lot of damage. So they're kind of going blows for blow, or yeah, punch for punch. Not sure how I want to phrase that, but that worked. Daishi went up to 3 bases right now. Succeed is going to do the same thing. He's worried to do it over here because he knows that army is still around, so he's going to do it over here instead. Upgrade wise, right now we see Protoss at 1-1, 1-2 is on the way, while 1-1 is just starting. He does have +1 of course, but the second armor or the first armor upgrade for the Terran just now starting. So still, this is a reasonable position for the Protoss player in my opinion. But soon we see a fight which I really like how Daishi handled it. If there's one good old story of PvT, it has to be the moment where, alright, we open up with Colossus, but we want to go into Storm right now. We see the Templar Archives going down, and this is a phase of the game which is very hard for Terran to figure out when is the right moment to attack. What if they didn't want to go Templar Archives and they have a much bigger army? Or what if I'm slightly too late and he already has Storm? Daishi has been scanning really actively however, and he realizes right now like, hey, I think my army is a lot stronger than his army. That's of course the case. We see he has a 20 army supply lead. Vikings in a reasonable spot as well. Yes, they are a little bit exposed, but they're getting massive shots off on these Colossus, and he's microing his bio army really well. And that's not the first time I've seen Daishi do that. So once more, I want to applaud him for his play in this game, which I think was, yeah, pretty sexy. No way to put it. Succeed does eventually stabilize, but Protoss losing so many Colossus, and he's losing a lot of expensive gateway units as well, while Terran is already comfortably mining off 3 bases. That's really expensive for Protoss. Eventually, so right now he's going to be like, alright, I really want to get Storm out, but that fight was so bad. If you take a look at units lost resources as well, we can see he lost 4,000 more. He won't be able to secure this base, and that's all because Daishi hit on the exact right moment. He scanned a lot, he made risky drops, but that also gave him a lot of scouting information, and he fought right before Storm was out, right when it was only Colossus, and even before the second armor upgrade was done. So really excellent timing by Daishi. Perhaps a little bit of luck as well, but hey, At the end of the day, if you scout that actively, if you're that active around the map, I do not like to put it down on luck. It's definitely not just luck. So now I'm just going to fast forward, guys, because obviously Daishi has a massive lead because he was hitting that timing so excellently. He's getting a couple of goals just to be safe, just in case. We see right now Succeed after getting a couple of High Templars. He wants to get another Colossus out, but in this phase of the game where you're that far behind, when the Terran is maxed out, you're on 120 supply, you're going to need Miracle Storms. Does he still have the Mothership Core? No, he lost that one as well. Daishi going up to 4 bases. He's going to send the Ghost in front. Right now he knows that all he has to do is keep scanning. That's exactly what he does. Get a couple of snipes up, even though he does get hit by feedback, but great snipes off on those High Templars, and then this Bio Army is going to go completely untouched in this fight. A couple of them, of course, do die in the front line, so that's GG. So basically what I really like from Daishi is how he forced the first real fight, the first real timing. I thought that was excellent, and I really love how he kind of like faked the early marine pressure, where he the Protoss player didn't need to use Photon Overcharge, but it's something that you'll see a lot of Protoss players do, and I have done it so many times on ladder myself, so I'm definitely not going to blame Succeed. But you want to keep your head cool. You don't just want to use Photon Overcharge because you can, because you have to worry about the phase where you only have one Photon Overcharge and then you have to wait 30-40 seconds before the next one is ready. So I thought that was awesome. But once more, as I already said, Daishi played 3 Protoss players in a row, and he opened completely different 3 games on a row, and I thought that was very cool. So I'm going to jump straight into game number 2, which is against Minigun. Of course, well, I won't say everyone's favorite North American Protoss player, but at least in the eyes of many. He has an awesome nickname, which unfortunately I can't repeat because I would get fired on the spot. I cannot say that. But of course his real name is Chad Jones, and you guys know what to add in between. So here we go. Daishi is of course once more the French Terran representing Millennium. For everyone just joining me, I'm taking a look at a couple of the replays of the Ace Team Story Cup. I think this is an awesome tournament. I'm having so much fun following it. I think it's really fun to see those European guys, well in this case also North American guy, go head to head in a team league like that. It's been a while since we had a stable online team league. I really enjoyed watching EG Masters League back in the days, and I'm enjoying this as well. So Daishi once more opens up the refinery. I'm not gonna say in which moment the refinery went down exactly because that's not the point. I just want to show you guys these games in highlight, and I want to show some awesome moves that Daishi pulled off. So in the first game we saw him make that small marine poke, which went okay, even though he lost a lot of SCVs at home against the Oracle. Overall he still managed to make it all work. This game he's gonna do a little bit different. He's once more making a couple of marines, but he's gonna keep him at home. We see Minigun going a little bit ballsy with the Mothership Core on the map, but of course he is always able to recall it if he really has to, and in that phase of the game it's very unlikely that he's going to run into a bunch of Marines. Takes quite a bit of damage here, but he will be able to keep it alive, and he gets a good scout off, which is of course a scout that a probe wouldn't get off in this phase of the game because of the bunker here. So in case you guys wonder why would Minigun do that, that's the whole reason. So as I said, this game Daishi kept his Marines in the main base. Now as soon as the first medevac is ready and once more 1 or 2 Widow Mines are, he's gonna go out. Now this is not something that's completely new. We see a lot of Terran players do this. Taking a look at the income tab right now, we see that Minigun has a comfortable lead of 7 workers. So Daishi knows that he's gonna have to do at least a little bit of damage, but this is a serious group of Marines. This is not a group of Marines that you want to engage with, let's just say a single Zealot and a Stalker, because they get out-microed immediately on the spot. So here comes the first observer, I believe, or second observer. Actually, third observer already by Minigun. While the first observer is of course in the main because he wants to get detection. So we see these Widow Mines here. And this is quite a bit of DPS that Minigun has to deal with. Now, this doesn't look all that scary, of course, if he brings in all the units and if he activates Purify. He's going to be more than fine against 3 single Widow Mines and 2 Marines. But he does have to worry about this group of Marines as well. Once more, this is not a group where you just send like 2-3 gateway units and then just hope you'll be fine, because no, Daishi would micro, and he's going to out-micro, he's going to pick up your units. So these Widow Mines will burrow. Unfortunately, these Widow Mines did not get the memo that they had to kill Protoss units, and they started killing Marines instead. But it's still nice. Minigun did do this very well, that he actually kept Purify in the natural, so he's going to keep Purify over here. And eventually he doesn't take all that much damage, but you shouldn't forget that he's still losing mining time. He lost 2 probes, which is not the end of the world, but everything basically stops for a little bit in the Protoss base. Also Purify is used. And of course Daishi saw double forger, so despite this attack not doing all that much damage, I really like how he does something, I would still say completely different than game 1, different execution, different timing, and is able to put himself in a comfortable spot once more. And now this is something that people often say like, mind games, it only matters in professional plays and stuff. To be honest, I have to admit guys, if I play a game, if I play a ladder, and I'm sure you guys know this all as well, You play a ladder game, you win, and then you play the same guy again, and then you're already like, oh my god, like he knows how I like to play, and I'm gonna have to do something completely different. But what if he does the same thing? Then I should maybe do the same thing. But what if he does something completely different? And to be honest, when I run into the same guy 2-3 times in a row, I already like start having issues, and I'm not sure how I want to play it exactly. So I thought it was really cool how Daisy just mixed up his play, despite of course knowing that everyone was watching his games against Protoss. He was doing something completely different. Now this is kind of a weird drop. I didn't really get this one, as this was just a single medevac. In this phase of the game, by the way, Minigun of course is a fantastic Protoss player, and I should never give him tips because he's much better than me. But if he would have wiped in Protoss Stalker here immediately, which he does sort of try to do, but it's a little bit, I guess he doesn't have a pylon closer. Maybe he could have done it here, because he knows that this medevac is extremely low HP and it's trapped. It's not going to fly south, so it can only go here. He will actually be able to unload a few Marines. But of course Minigun wouldn't be Minigun if he does take care of it sort of in time. Kills a medevac here. But this is what I really like about Daisy, what he did over here. He kept 2 medevacs. Normally you would say like, try to do stuff at the same time. But he knew that dropping in the natural in this moment, when the army was there and Purify or Photon Overcharge, 1 hit for me, it's activated. It makes no sense to even drop here. So he just waited with these Marines, and instead he dropped a little bit later. Now this might not seem like a massive drop, but picking off a Twilight Console is a really big deal. Even though it just he just started the 2-2 upgrades, it means that Storm is delayed. It means that there's not going to be charge or blink for a little while, unless he already had either of the 2. Let's take a look at the Stalkers. Minigun, do we have Stalkers? Yeah, he has 7 of them. But he didn't have charge or blink, so picking off a Twilight Console, if you can as a Terran player, is massive. During all this, Daisy is still macroing up pretty flawlessly. And now he also knows, hey, I picked off the Twilight Console, that means that there's not going to be Storm or Storm charge or blink anytime soon. So that means it's just going to be pure Colossus. He's producing 4 Vikings at a time, because he knows once more Protoss is pretty vulnerable in this phase of the game where they go double Forge and Colossus and then also want to make that transition. And he punishes that so well. I was really impressed with the way he played these games, because he makes it look easy. This was the 2nd game of the Clan War, by the way, guys, as he just won the 1st, which was against Succeed. Now playing against Minigun. Army supply tab shows us 104 against 70. Now as I said, these drops, they may not look like they did a whole lot of damage. If you take a look at the army supply right now, you can see that they definitely did quite a bit of damage. And while the army positioning here by Daisy is really smart, he has an insane amount of Vikings. That means that right now no Purify. This sets up a really nice flank, and well, I think that this battle tells the tale itself. I really like how he played this game. I thought it was beautiful executed from start to finish, and I was impressed. He made it look easy, and everyone who's ever played against Minigun knows that it's far from easy to defeat Minigun like this, certainly in this matchup. I actually live with Fuser, who is one of the highest ranked players in North America right now. Of course, he's normally from Finland, but he lives with us. But he keeps telling me as well, he's like, yeah, Minigun is really tough. He's one of the best in PvT. So Daisy making it look this easy, I thought was really impressive, and I really liked his kind of variant on the first game opening that he did in this game, and the way that he realizes when Protoss is weak. Anyways, guys, those were 2 real quick replays. I'm going to take a small commercial break, so I'll drink some water. Then I'll be right back, where we're going to take a look at another game of Daisy. After that, we're going to take a look at an amazing game from Feast. Of course, everyone's favorite Blink player in Europe. Feast is, well, he was a low radar for a little while, but he's back right now. And after that, I'm going to tell you guys about my own ladder adventures with a PvZ build that I've been messing around with. So hopefully you stick around, and hopefully you think it's fun. Stay tuned.